We're now at the end of January. Be honest. How are the goals you set for yourself doing? If they're already slipping, this video isn't to make you feel bad, but it's a way to reset and really rethink our goals. Because you don't need to wait for the next January to come to reset your life. The concept of time is man-made, and so if you want to start January 6, January 10, February 5, November 5, a random date, it does not matter. For the past few years, I would set goals. I would feel really motivated for the first 2 weeks. And then if I miss one day, I'll think to myself, oh, I've messed up. And so I'll just stop and quit entirely. When we think about consistency, sometimes we would think about all the highs, all of the energy, the adrenaline. But honestly, this is a diagram that resonates really well. What we think consistency looks like versus what consistency actually is. On January 7, on a Wednesday, I decided that I was going to start, that I wasn't going to make any more excuses, and that I was going to start my consistency journey. And that's exactly what I did. And what consistency has taught me is that it's not necessarily about doing things in a very perfect manner, but just doing things and showing up for yourself is what's most important. And I've been really consistent within 5 areas. The first is workout. On the week of January 7, I worked out every single day. But the goal wasn't that. The goal was to work out at least 3 times a week. Some other goals I had for myself was to upload short form content every single day, upload YouTube videos once a week, listen to a Chinese podcast daily because I'm going to study abroad at Tsinghua this semester, and so I would have to get my Chinese skills up, and then read 10 pages of a book every single day. And now I'm on my second book and it's been really fun. I'm getting a lot of new insights, a lot of new knowledge and information, and it's just insane to have actually finished a book. So I think a lot of you would have watched Dominic Hart's video on his habit tracker, and I feel like that is a huge game changer for what actually helped me become consistent with my habits. And so what you're gonna do is you can just have a grid notebook and put the writing habit tracker and write down the habits that you want to be consistent in, and then put the days. And so every single day, what you're going to do is you're just going to cross out the box when you've completed your task. For me, this is a book by Ava Alicia, which I found really good, but you can really just use any squared grid notebook. And then this is my second week, and I'm currently on my third week. As you can see, it's filled out to the brim, and it's been a really fun game for myself because you're essentially gamifying the entire process. And really, once you show up for yourself, it becomes proof and evidence that you're the type of person that is going to show up. The first week might be hard, and in the first week you might be pushing yourself, you might be forcing yourself to actually do it and remember what are the things and what are the habits you want to build. But that first week is so important, and it acts as a basis, as a ground for you to really remember that, okay, you know what, I passed this first week, and I'm the type of person that can keep my promises. I'm the type of person that I can rely on. And so that's going to make the second, the third, the fourth, and the following weeks so much easier. And once you're on a streak, you would feel like you really do not want to break it. And since I know these are the things and the priorities that I need to finish up for the day, I'm going to build my schedule around that. Maybe if I know that a certain week is much more hectic than a previous week, or if I know that I'm going to be traveling for the next few days, I will make sure to batch content, or I'll make sure to readjust my schedule so that I'm able to tick all of the boxes. Whether that's waking up and putting my AirPods on while I brush my teeth, do my skincare and all of that to make sure that I get the Chinese podcast requirement daily in, or whether that's reading in the car or making adjustments to my schedule. Or if I'm out late and I go home very, very late, I would post, or I would still create that content at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. My sleepiness still on me. But I feel like that's the power of consistency, and that's how these will eventually add up to something bigger. For me, just putting the goal of reading 10 pages a day really have helped me in finishing a book and actually being consistent with something. So it's adding on proof that, yes, this is actually something that you can do. Yes, you're going to push yourself to the limit so that you're able to get to where you want to be. And a lot of big artists, like let's say Olivia Rodrigo, that's also what she does. She writes a song every day, inspired or not. And I feel like that habit itself contributes a huge ton to her success.
So, you know, and that was sort of the exercise that I did over quarantine, is I like forced myself to write a song. Not force myself, that sounds sad and scary, but like I sat down at the piano and was like, okay, I'm gonna write a song every day of quarantine, and I feel like that made me a much better songwriter. And, you know, I think some of the ideas I wouldn't have, you know, gotten to jot down if I didn't, you know, make myself do that every day. So I think showing up is really important. It's more important than being talented or good at anything, like, because you can be super talented, but if you don't show up, what's the point?
Second thing is that most goals fail because they're set at a behavioral level. I want to work out, I want to post, I want to wake up early. It really ties back again to why you're doing those things. That's what's going to push you even on days when you feel like you don't want to do it. There's this psychology exercise called the 7 whys where you just continuously ask yourself, why this, why this, why this, why this, so that you can get into the root cause of it. Consistency became less about doing everything perfectly and more about keeping promises to myself. Some days, even with these habits, I try and do the bare minimum. But something is still better than nothing. So what I would recommend is first by thinking about the why. Think about what exactly it is that you want to do. And also, you can use ChatGPT for this. Literally just open ChatGPT, go to the voice record function, and tell them, you know, this is what I want to do. For instance, you want to have a healthy body. So just tell ChatGPT, you know, I want to have a healthy body. And then say why. Okay, yeah, the reason why I want to have a healthy body is because I want to look good. Why do you want to look good? I want to look good so that I can feel good. Why do you want to feel good? So just constantly go through the process of asking yourself why, so that you can get to really the root of the problem. And that's exactly what I did with working out 3 times a week, uploading short form every day, posting a YouTube video once a week, reading 10 pages every day, and listening to a Chinese pod daily. There's a reason why I'm doing these 5 things. And so these are not just random things that I came up with just because, but all this is helping me to become much closer to my dream life and to my vision board. So if you don't have a vision board yet, I think it's also something very important for you to really think about. You can literally put it on your lock screen. I have it on as my lock screen. So eating healthy, clear skin. This is YouTube, Instagram, healthy body. So you have all of that, and so that you can really visualize the kind of life that you want to have. Take time for this. You really just to try and think about what it is actually that you really want. And then afterwards, you're going to think about what habits you're going to do daily, weekly, or monthly. And so this consistency thing, it doesn't have to be working out daily. It can be working out at least 3 times a week. And so you're just thinking about what is your life going to look like? What is the day-to-day nitty-gritty details that you're going to do to get to where you want to be. And then for the first few weeks, you can really think about how did that week go? You can have a weekly meeting with yourself. Literally just put it on your calendar, meeting with yourself, maybe when you're on the road, when you're doing nothing, or just take the time to think. Maybe you can also open up your photo booth on your laptop, or you can go to voice memos and just talk. What exactly worked well this week? What can I do better for next week? And how am I feeling? In the first week, I was feeling very, very burnt out with all of these habits, especially because with short form content, I was posting and I was creating the videos. I was thinking of what to post every single day. I didn't have a clear plan or a clear path of what I want to do with social media. That's why it became really, really hard. And then I would procrastinate it until the last moments of the day to really think about the idea, to edit, to do all of that, because I was just too stressed out and too scared to start. But after that week, I realized that, you know what, I didn't want to feel this way anymore. I didn't want to feel burnt out. And so I really tried to re-audit and really rethink. This wasn't working for me in this week. So in the next week, I'm going to try out this new system so that I'm able to still hit my goals of posting every day. And so if you're watching this and if January didn't go perfectly, that's okay. Simply know and be grateful that you have another day, you have another opportunity to test things out, try to grow and to really become the best version of yourself. I believe in you, I believe in me, and I believe that we can do this together. Comment down below the habits or the goals that you want to commit yourself to, and we'll keep each other accountable. Thanks for watching. See you guys really soon.